has, like many other US late-night programs, largely given up any pretense of trying to be funny and turned into yet another leftist propaganda outfit. But out of nowhere, they surprised everyone by putting together this hilarious compilation of Kamala Harris and the fictional Vice President, Selena Myers. So let's take a minute now and marvel at a US comedy program that has managed to produce comedy.
My fellow Americans, words have many meanings, and sometimes instead of conveying our meaning, they can suggest other meanings.
When we talk about the children of the community, they are children of the community.
Well, we are the United States of America because we are united. And we are states.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
Whatever we have in store cannot be known. The past was once the future. The future is, I should say, unknown.
We got to take this stuff seriously as you are, because you have been forced to have to take it seriously.
Obesity is a serious disease, and it needs to be taken seriously.
You need to get to go and need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work and get home.
I hope that clarifies the issue, and this can be the last word on those words.
Certain issues are just settled.
Clearly we're not.
No, that's right, and that's why I do believe that we are living, sadly, in real unsettled time.
We're live.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, no, it's surprising that The Daily Show actually put that out. Like, they're bought and paid for left-wing shills. So, I mean, this is probably them trying to take back the gaffes in the making fun of Kamala. Like, I mean, like, but again, I mean, this is what they made fun of Bush for so violently throughout the entire candidacy of Bush. Like, I mean, like, people and fish can coexist. That's all people did was make compilations of Bush gaffes. And they had Will Ferrell come out and make fun of, do his, it was a good impression of George W. Dana Carvey had a great impersonation of the original George Bush. But you could tell that all of them were made to make them look as dumb as possible. And then whenever Barack Obama became president, Fred Armisen started doing his Barack Obama impressions. And if you noticed, Barack Obama was never the butt of any jokes. He was treated with respect. He was treated with dignity in the way they did the comedy about him. Mm-hmm. That was not the way it was for any president before that. This is when Saturday Night Live started going downhill. Was whenever they were like, they stopped treating Democrats the same way they treated Republicans. I mean, at least they treated, they kind of treated Bill Clinton very similarly. Like, they didn't really make it, like, they made Hillary Clinton the butt of the jokes. Like, what was your favorite part of Independence Day? Dead wife.
The dead wife.
Like that is what they did with Bill, because they knew Bill was a womanizer.
One of the funnier sketch that they ever had was when Bill Clinton was trying to lose weight when he was president, and he went to the McDonald's, and he was running, he was exercising, and his Secret Service detailing, he's like, "Oh, Mr. President," and he walks in, and all the people are like just wowed that he's there. And he starts eating people's food out of their hands as he's walking by. Like, he walked by, grab French fries, grab somebody's burger. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch this. I don't remember this one at all.
I'll try to find it and pull it up. I might play that little bit here in a little bit. But if you want to get into, like, I don't know if you want to get into the traffic or the weather or anything.
Yeah, no. So just so you know, it's pretty brisk outside. If you can tell, I'm wearing the beanie today. But we ran this morning to the gym. It was cold. My hands were cold. It was chilly, and then running back home from the gym after being all sweaty was pretty chilly too. Thank goodness our body heat was already high from working out, but still chilly out. And we got a high of 71, so that'll be the lowest temperature we've had in quite a while. Tomorrow is looking like it's going to be even colder. Like, it's just going to be barely above freezing tomorrow morning. So it's prepare for some chill, because it's going to be colder in the mornings from here on out. So fall has finally arrived, and the appropriate weather is following it. So traffic conditions going into Tulsa are pretty fair, no real issues. So if you haven't left yet, you're not going to have any issues on 169, so go ahead and head out. With that being said, I guess we'll just kind of push on into today's subject, which is Chameleon Kamala. And I had Chad make this thumbnail where he made, the Animorphs, showing Kamala turning into a chameleon because she is just, she's whatever she needs to be wherever she is. I mean, if you haven't seen like how she kind of panders to crowds, like she'll talk more Southern and black when she's in certain areas, and she'll talk very prominently in certain areas, and she'll even try to do a Brooklyn or a New Jersey accent.
You better think a union member.
You better think a union. Yeah. And it's just so weird, It's like she is the peak pandering. I mean, that should offend the people in those communities, but I mean, I guess the people that just are brainwashed Democrat just love it. Absolutely love it. So, we just got a bunch of stuff today on the show that we're just going to show just Kamala being Kamala. Yeah, what do you want? Whatever video you want to pull up, Chad, and start with is totally up to you.
Oh, absolutely. Let me see here. I've got so much going on today. We'll start with this Kamala Harris trashing Columbus Day.
Oh, yeah. So yesterday was Columbus Day, and I forgot that everybody's trying to switch it to Indigenous Peoples Day. And, boy, they have really tarnished the legacy of Christopher Columbus and made him out to be something he's not. And it's really sad, And, like, again, a lot of Christopher Columbus's writings, I think Michael Knowles did a really good kind of, like, apologetics for Columbus. Like, a lot of the stuff that has been taken for in history books was written by his chief adversary in Portugal. Like, his chief rival in Portugal, who was mad that he was able to get these ships and sell to the New World, obviously he was trying to get to India. But when he got these ships and was able to get all this funding, this guy was just turbo jealous and started writing his own history of Columbus. So imagine if somebody you hated, like your worst enemy growing up, was the person who chronicled your history. Like, can you trust?
Rival.
Yeah. Imagine the person you despised most in the world being like, I'll be the one that writes the history about this man. It's like, okay, we can really get a good, unbiased perspective from this guy.
Or a liberal take of this. It'd be as if Donald Trump wrote Hillary Clinton's autobiography.
Yes. How would you like it if Donald Trump wrote Hillary Clinton's autobiography? Do you think we're going to get a fair and biased take if Kamala wrote Trump's autobiography?
Yeah, unbiased take. Yeah, you're not getting one.
You're not getting. Yeah, exactly. So you have to dig deeper in history, and like I said, we just assume that the history we were talking to, because, I mean, they were crapping on Columbus whenever I was in school. It was like 15 years ago, man. I remember being like, Columbus wasn't very smart. He didn't even realize he discovered the New World. It's like, okay, he still had, I mean, you're talking about back in the day, the guy was brave enough to sail whenever everyone's like, well, you're going to fall off the earth. For all your flat earthers out there, they're like, he did fall off the earth.
Oh, man, that's good stuff. Yeah, I'll go ahead and play this video, though. But this is her basically trash-talking Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yeah, go for it.
Since 1934, every October, the United States has recognized the voyage of the European explorers who first landed on the shores of the Americas. But that is not the whole story. That has never been the whole story. Those explorers ushered in a wave of devastation for tribal nations, perpetrating violence, stealing land, and spreading disease. We must not shy away from this shameful past, and we must...
Like they spreaded the disease intentionally. This is like the whole smallpox in blankets thing, Like, is there any actual historical evidence of that? No. Yeah. Somebody said, it's possible that happened, therefore it's probable that it happened. Look, our ancestors survived the bubonic plague. The ones in Europe. And that's what killed the tribes. Like, I mean, not just that. It wasn't just the bubonic plague. But like I said, they came over here with diseases that these people had never been exposed to. And that's what wiped out 70 to 80% of these populations. They'd never been exposed to it before. The sailors came, and like I said, you think the sailors are the most clean people back in the day? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
They interacted with these people, and they got exposed to disease, and they go, assuming, like, yeah, it's all their fault that the disease wiped out 80% of the populations of these tribes. Like, no, it's not. They couldn't have predicted that back then. They didn't have the critical thought process. And I mean, and I say that, and I'm not calling our ancestors dumb either. Like, that's the problem. We all think that we are so much smarter than people were back in the day. They were smart people with the information they had available to them. Like, oh, if they were smart, how come they didn't invent the microscope? It's like, get wrecked. They didn't have the ability to do that kind of stuff. You know, it's like, we are probably the dumbest generation that's ever existed because we stand on the shoulders of giants and we all have these supercomputers walking around in our pockets all day that answer all the questions we have. So that is just a willful misrepresentation of what history is. Was it? Has any two cultures coming together been peaceful and nice throughout history? No. There's always cultural clashes when two different groups meet. Always. Yeah. So let's not pretend that the Christopher Columbus and his group of sailors coming over there were unique. It was a unique experience to them. It's like going, hey, look at these people committing human sacrifices. Yeah, this is what a noble and enriching culture these people have and practice over here.
Yeah, they're interbreeding with brother and sister, and they're committing human sacrifice. So such a graceful culture.
All cultures are equal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, go ahead.
It's almost over.
Good deal.
Must shed light on it and do everything we can to address the impact of the past on Native communities today. It is an honor, of course, to be with you this week as we celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day.
Repeated.
Yeah. So there we go. Again, just dumping on Christopher Columbus. The guy had the guts to go across and sail the seas, get the funding to do so. Again, you know, there were lots, and again, everyone's like, oh, Columbus wasn't the only one that thought the earth wasn't round. It's like, yeah, true, but he was the only one that was able to get the funding to go and sail the ocean blue. So anyway, and here's another really awesome, I don't know what movie this is from. But this little clip that Chad has pulled up here in the screen, like, this is one of the best movie scenes ever because it really dumps on this idea of the noble savage, like the noble Indian, I don't know how else to describe it. It just spits in the face of all the people that go, oh yeah, the Indians were perfect. You know, like if we hadn't been here, the Indians would have never done anything wrong and they'd be living in peace with nature. So, I don't know. Go ahead and, if you can, just refresh this and we can start it from the beginning.
And then I will get the sound rolling on it.
Sitting Bull requested this council. We await his words.
Take your soldiers out of here. They scare the game away.
Very well, sir. Tell me then, how far away should I take my men?
You must take them out of our lands.
What precisely are your lands?
These are the lands where my people lived before you whites first came.
I don't understand. We whites were not your first enemies. Why don't you demand back the land in Minnesota where the Chippewa and others forced you from years before?
The Black Hills are sacred land given to my people by Wakantonka.
Very convenient to cloak your claims in spiritualism. And what would you say to the Mormons and others who believe that their God has given to them Indian lands in the West?
I would say they should listen to Wakantonka.
No matter what your legends say, you didn't sprout from the plains like the spring grasses. And you didn't coalesce out of the ether. You came out of the Minnesota woodlands, armed to the teeth, and set upon your fellow man. You massacred the Kiowa, the Omaha, the Ponca, the Oto, and the Pawnee without mercy. And yet you claim the Black Hills as a private preserve bequeathed to you by the Great Spirit.
And who gave us the guns and powder to kill our enemies? And who traded weapons to the Chippewa and others who drove us from our home?
Chief Sitting Bull, the proposition that you were a peaceable people before the appearance of the white man is the most fanciful legend of all. You were killing each other for hundreds of moons before the first white stepped foot on this continent. You conquered those tribes, lusting for their game and their lands, just as we have now conquered you for no less noble a cause.
This is your story of my people.
This is the truth, not legend.
Boom. I mean, What a fantastic little film. And like I said, what is this posted from? Like this is what is this from? Who posted this?
Well, I'm not sure what the film's from, but it's people commenting that Matt Walsh was. Who would have guessed Matt Walsh supports Columbus Day? So then people posted this as a response.
Yeah. So what's the account though? The account that they're talking about.
The Libs of
Reddit.
Libs of
Reddit.
Reddit, not Reddit. Reddit.
So they don't get banned for making fun of the libs on Reddit.
Exactly. But yeah, so it's pretty funny. That's very funny.
Again, this, like I said, that scene kind of represents perfectly what happens. Like the peaceful tribes always get thrown out of wherever they are, and the peaceful tribes don't exist anymore. It's the ones that went out to kill each other that won. So again, everyone thinks that they're owed something. Everyone thinks the land belongs to them. As the Native Americans say, the lands belong to no one. So why do they belong to the Native Americans now?
100%. Then I guess there's this right here that you sent me. I guess I can pull this bad boy up.
Yeah.
It's, the defense why immigrants should love Columbus Day. Let me pull back up in the semi-big screen again. I'll refresh it and we'll start it up.
All right.
A slow woke death. It might be a good idea to consider how this national holiday came about in the first place. The answer might surprise you. Ready for it? The purpose of Columbus Day was to encourage Americans to be more accepting of immigrants, specifically Italian immigrants. The Italian explorer, once universally regarded as a great hero, was the symbol of the holiday, not the focus of it. Here's the historical context. Following a mass migration from southern Italy beginning in the 1880s, the status of Italian Americans was at an all-time low. How low was clearly illustrated by one of the single worst episodes of racial violence in American history: the mass murder and lynching of 11 Italian Americans in New Orleans in 1891. Hatred against the Italian newcomers had been brewing for years and was openly encouraged by leading newspapers of the day. For example, in 1882, the New York Times ran an editorial under the headline, "Our Future Citizens," in which the Times stated, "There has never been, since New York was founded, so low and ignorant a class among the immigrants as the Southern Italians." In 1887, the same New York Times wrote approvingly of the lynching in Mississippi of a man they referred to as Dago Joe, Dago being an ethnic slur for Italians. Anti-immigrant sentiment was especially intense in New Orleans, where Italians were settling in large numbers. Local papers accused them of working for below-market wages, engaging in all manner of crimes, and being more loyal to the Pope than the president. These seething resentments broke to the surface when the city's police chief, David Hennessy, was assassinated in the fall of 1890. As the chief lay dying in the street, a witness claimed to have heard him say that Dagos had shot him. In a response, authorities rounded up hundreds of Italians, eventually charging 9 of them with complicity in Hennessy's murder. When their trial resulted in 6 not guilty verdicts and 3 mistrials, the public was outraged. Further inflamed by the local press, some decided to take justice into their own hands. According to journalist Aaron Blakemore, here's what happened. Thousands of angry residents gathered near the jail. Impassioned speakers whipped the mob into a frenzy, painting Italian immigrants as criminals who needed to be driven out of the city. A group of vigilantes stormed the prison, grabbing not just the men who had been acquitted or given a mistrial, but several who had not been tried or even accused in the crimes. Shots rang out. When the shooting stopped, 11 bodies were riddled with bullets and torn apart by the crowd. Outside the jail, the mob cheered as the mutilated bodies were displayed. Some corpses were hung, others were plundered for souvenirs. The next day, the New York Times celebrated the crime with a headline that read, "Chief Hennessy avenged. 11 of his Italian assassins lynched by a mob. These descendants of bandits and assassins are to us a pest without mitigations," the Times editors wrote. In protest, the Italian government broke off diplomatic relations with the United States. Tensions receded only after the U.S. government paid an indemnity to the Italians. Despite the New York Times' incendiary rhetoric, much of the country was outraged by the massacre. In his 1891 State of the Union address, Republican President Benjamin Harrison pledged to protect foreign nationals from mob violence. Then, in July 1892, Harrison issued a proclamation celebrating the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's discovery of the New World. It was a timely pretext to a greater purpose, to raise the status of a badly shaken Italian-American community. Harrison's proclamation did more. Italian Americans now had a way to include themselves in the American story. And not surprisingly, New York City figured prominently in that narrative. In the late 19th century, one could say that Italian immigrants essentially built the city's infrastructure. According to the Library of Congress, they went to work on the growing city's municipal works projects, digging...
Good. Wow. Interesting, though. Like, you could see, I see the parallels with that, like I said, but the Democrats doing the same thing today with Trump. This modern-day lynching they're doing of Donald Trump.
Yeah. I mean, lynch mob is why we are a republic with democratically elected representatives, because a democracy is a mob mentality.
Is a mob.
That the mob won right there. That was how democracy works. Is, hey, I think we should all hang these guys.
Yeah.
Everyone votes. Oh, majority of us agree. They all need to be hung.
So yeah, that's the problem. If you are the person who's like this, we should just do it by the popular vote. That's what you're voting for. You can vote to take away people's rights. You can vote to declare people not barely human. Look, that is what pure democracy is. Those people over there don't need rights. Screw them. So, it's just wild. Wild times we live in. But again, that's what Democrats want. They want that. They want that. They want to be able to harness the power of the mob, is where we want justice. Regardless of whether or not whoever murdered the sheriff, all those people like, oh, it was clearly the Italians that killed the sheriff. But, that justice was served in the court when the mistrials were declared and that the other people were found innocent. But no, they were like, no, that's not good enough. We go for it all. We play for keeps.
The next thing I have pulled up right here is Nicole Kidman. We, as a country, need to support Donald Trump.
She just ended her career in Hollywood, but I guess she's at the age where she's well past her prime, so she can kind of be more open about what she actually believes.
Yep. And of course, she's not probably too worried about it. And like with all the crazy stuff going on, it's hard hard for any liberal to, like with what we saw yesterday at the J.D. Vance interview with that lady's like, only some apartment complexes.
Only a handful of apartment complexes have been taken over by Venezuelan migrants. Only a handful. Yeah. And he's like, listen to yourself. Yeah. Only a handful in America.
Yeah. And then during the Trump-Harris debate, they straight up denied it. There were so many articles that came out and said, this is not happening. None of this is true. Now it's true, but it's only happening in a handful.
Isn't it amazing? It seems like the media and the news and all the newspaper outlets are always on the wrong side of history. Just take that thing we just watched about Christopher Columbus. Like, they were all cheering the fact that these immigrants were killed. Like, we might say, yeah, we don't want these immigrants here, but we don't want to see them hurt or killed. But at the same time, it's like, look, if we have open borders, we don't have a country. And again, I understand the complaints from the people who lived in those communities. Like, these Italian immigrants are coming here and doing are not doing the same job for the same price. They're taking cheaper wages to do the same job. So I get it. Yeah. And now you got all these other commercials going out. Like I said, I'd play the music, but unfortunately we'll get copyright struck for the music.
Just like white dudes or Harris. I mean, yeah. That's what honestly people think if you're a straight white man and you're voting for Harris.
Yeah. I'm a strong, independent man. I bet you are. And that's what you look like walking down the street voting for Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so sad.
And then let's see here. Then you've got, this one's great. You can't go wrong with these ones. Good Lord. I'm going to have to full screen this one.
Yeah, go for it.
And then we'll go to the multi-screen.
Yep.
When you ask a bunch of liberals what Kamala policy you actually like.
La 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 la. It's true. I mean, what policies of Kamala's do you like as a Democrat? Seriously. Name one.
I can't name one.
No, I can't either. And I'm trying to be generous, too.
Let's see here. I got a few more here. Ah, yes.
Good old Mel.
Man, it keeps. When did they start changing it to make it these full screen things?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't play the music on this one either. But yeah, voting for Trump in 2024 versus voting for Trump in 2016 is like just a polite conversation.
Yep. Now it's like
now
freedom. Hold the line.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
That is what it feel like.
Mm-hmm. What else we got?
Well, I'm sure I've got a few other things queued up real quick. Well, you sent me this here.
Yeah.
This weird Gretchen Whitmer thing.
Yeah, that's a journalist she's doing that with. It's some higher up journalist somewhere. I mean, I don't know why she agreed to do that. This is the weirdest ad. And I sent you a Megyn Kelly video in Owasso Live if you want to pull up her analysis of it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, JD Vance is weird because he thinks families are good. And then, literally mocking, like I'd say Christians taking the sacrament. It's weird that left-wing people, Democrats especially,
despise religion.
No, not just religion, Christianity. Yeah. Said, Islam's good. It's a very peaceful and loving religion.
Yes, and there's a piece
Buddhists
of
are good. Yeah, there's a piece of you over there. And then Buddhism, I mean, any type of other culture's religion is beautiful and, cultural and, very wonderful thing. But Christianity, no. It's too oppressive. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Doesn't.
But yeah, let me pull that up for you real quick. I think I have that. I don't think I have that pulled up just yet. So let me go ahead and click this.
Yeah, it's just great. I mean, again, all other religions and stuff, remember, the less white it is, the more likely it is to be taken seriously. If they view it as a white Christian thing, they're going to ridicule it. They're going to hate it. So it's so
I don't know what this is. Maybe you guys are going to be able to explain it to me. But she did some sort of a little video with somebody I have never seen or heard of before. Hold on. My trusty notes tell me that it's an MSNBC columnist named Liz Plank involving a Dorito. Here it is.
She's eating that music.
I'll hold it off. Yeah. How weird is that?
Now, I don't understand it. You're going to tell me what it means. The Daily Caller says the clip is vaguely pornographic and that it also treats the Dorito as if it were the Holy Eucharist. You don't want to read pornographic and Holy Eucharist in the same. You know what? They're not wrong.
I mean, yeah, what was that? What was that? I mean, who thought that was a good idea?
Any Democrat that is still religious, like you believe in God, like you're a Christian.
You're a Catholic specifically.
Yeah. Tell me, I mean, no, every Christian group does that.
I know, but like I said, Catholic, it's part of the whole spiel.
But that's just my point, is tell me that wasn't mocking.
Tell me that wasn't blasphemous.
I mean, yeah, that was blasphemous. I mean, she was literally like, this Dorito is the Holy Sacrament. Government is your savior.
Yeah, no, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris are your saviors. She was wearing a Tim Walz and Kamala Harris camo hat because she's speaking to the rural vote, the country vote.
Yeah. And is this the same Gretchen Whitmer that was like, I was almost kidnapped by the FBI and the CIA?
Yeah, I was almost kidnapped by the FBI and the CIA.
Golly. Yeah, but let me see what else I have left in the queue here. There's that. That's how we're ending the show today. Oh yeah. We've got this right here with the Democrats are bringing out the big guns for what's going on right
They're
now.
bringing back their Messiah. The Democrats have brought back their Messiah, Barack Obama. Their Jesus Christ figure. Their God of the government, Barack Obama. Remember, Barack Obama is the Christ of the Democratic Party. He is their Messiah figure. He's their messianic hero.
Yeah, but here he is. And, yeah, they're saying that he straight up says that the brothers aren't coming out to support Kamala like they did for him. And he's saying that you need to not think about it and just vote. So basically, just close your eyes.
What was the actual the title of the Babylon Bee article? It said, "Now is not the time for independent thinking, black voters."
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
time to vote like the collective you are. You don't need to think for yourself, black voter. You're just one of us. You're part of the tribe. You're part of the cult. You don't get to think for yourself. I tell you what to think. Man, that is insulting. It is disgusting. And it's just sad. It's like, if black dudes identify with Trump and think that he is going to be a better leader than Kamala Harris, what's wrong with that? Why is that a bad thing? I guess it's a bad thing because they have a different opinion than you do. I guess it's a bad thing because you guys want to be the ones in charge. You want to be the one running the show. So it's just gross. It's sad. It's sad that that's what they think of black men. Step in line. Gross.
But I think that's just about it. Let me double check, make sure I've got anything else. I did find that Bill Clinton McDonald's thing, but it is like 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, can't do it then. And plus, SNL will strike us hard for that.
Exactly. But the only other thing that I have left is this little video about Dave Chappelle.
We can save that for another
day. Yeah. Then that's it. And we're ready to end the show with this little funny Kamala Harris video
so
we found.
Before we play this little funny Kamala Harris video, this is the Twins with Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. We are signing off. God bless you.
See you later, everybody. As soon as I get this video pulled up, I'll play us out.
Who needs personality when you can switch who you are at the push of a button?
It's Sid Swish Kamala. That's right.
Oh, hello, young lady. Quite a marvelous day, innit?
Why does she talk so weird? Let me play with her.
Well, hey there, little nugget. I'm going to be the first black female president of the United States of America.
Man, this doll sucks.
Accent Switch Kamala can emulate any accent you like, as long as it grants her credibility.
Bonjour, tu aimes les croissants?
Merde américaine.
Guten Tag, Sie lieben ein Bratwurst? Ufta, 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 da.
Luke, I am your mother.
It's Sid Swish Kamala. That's right.
But wait, there's more. All new Accent Switch Kamala comes with 2 bags of campaign money, a blind eye for illegal immigration, and her own multi-laugh 3000 generator. Laugh in every way possible. Let Accent Switch Kamala turn your life into a complete circus.
When you give me more money, like Uncle Joey did.
Don't you wear a little mad? The money's coming.
I don't understand.
Oh, excuse me, honey.
I meant to say, the money is coming. I love ice cream, Kamala map.
It's Accent Switch Kamala and brand new Tampon Tim.
You know, my grandma always used to say, Kamala Jano, please wash your hands so we can eat our chicken masala.
It's Sid Swish Kamala.